big question for Oregon and for USC is, as you mentioned, Grinch was relieved of his duties. What does USC expect of this defense at this point? Because that's been the downfall, you would admit. I mean, easily, that's been the downfall of the USC team this year.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And so what are we going to see from the USC defense? Pretty much the same. Nothing is going to change. We can't stop the run. We're not physical, don't know how to tackle. So it's a combination of scheme, players not understanding where they're supposed to be. We're always out of position. And Washington had the perfect game plan. I think Dan Lanning's going to do the same thing. I mean, we let Colorado almost put 200 yards on us running the ball. We saw – I mean, we've been making Heisman Trophy candidates every week. Go back to Bryson Barnes, the pig farmer. So that's part of my issue with USC this year. Everybody's going to say, well, yeah, it's Alex Grinch. Sorry. Last year, I questioned Lincoln Riley after the 6th game when we lost at Utah. And because of Lincoln Riley's play calling. And right then I kind of saw that I don't know if I really understand what he's doing. Because when you go on the road and you're going to play in a hostile environment like Rice Eccles, you have to pack your defense in a run game. And we had a running game, but we didn't run the ball enough. And Utah scored at the end of the first half, got the ball in the second half, scored. They made adjustments. We made a first-round draft pick out of their tight end. I'm blanking on his name because I just want to forget it.
I know. I'm forgetting what his name is, too.
It's going to come to me right now in the middle of my sleep. But what's that, Spaz?
Cade, he's in Buffalo.
Yeah, he's in Buffalo. He just got his first touchdown like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So my point is that was a red flag. And then you saw what happened in the Pac-12 championship game. You saw what happened against UCLA, but we gave up 45 points in a win. And then Tulane was abysmal. So Lincoln Riley had a lot of, let's say, carte blanche, if you will. So there's a lot of people that didn't want Alex Grinch to return, but that kind of wasn't going to happen because really when he came aboard, there was a small recruiting class. We got a few players out of the transfer portal, but you give him another year to recruit and to get his players in the transfer portal. We thought we did. We got a lot of great players in the transfer portal, but this year, for whatever reason, it wasn't working out. And then I hold Lincoln Riley culpable, accountable, because your defense is suspect. We don't have a special teams coach. So you have to, as the head coach, and you're calling plays, you have to help out your defense with your play calling. How about run the frickin' ball and give them a break? And I didn't see that at Colorado. Colorado, we didn't run the ball. The defense had an interception within their 25-yard line the first half. And what do? We run the ball one time, we pass for 3 times, and we score like in a minute and 15 seconds. People were beating me up saying, oh, you're complaining because we scored too fast? No. Check it out, man. You need to eat clock. Our best possession in the first half was over 6 minutes, and we punted. So, and then we stop them again, Colorado. And they punted, and we blocked the punt, and we got it within the 25-yard line. And what do? 1 run and 3 passes. We score like in a minute and 20 seconds. And we saw what happened with Colorado. They scored with a little bit of time left in the first half, and, they almost came back in the second half. 3 more minutes, and they would have won that game. So part of it is that USC can run the ball. At least we think they can. I think there's been questions about the offensive line. So that maybe it's like we can't run the ball. Wondering why we wouldn't run the ball on somebody like Oregon. Somebody like Colorado. And then look what you guys did the following week. Right down their throats. So, and we saw what happened in Notre Dame. He should have been fired after Notre Dame, but he wasn't. And Lincoln Riley, in the press conference after the Washington loss, he didn't want to get into talking about the defense. And so, popular opinion that it wasn't his choice to make. But that was enough. Enough was enough. And you were like the 124th ranked defense in total yards. That's embarrassing. Totally embarrassing. I don't care if we're the number 2 offense in the country. It's ridiculous. It's not USC football.
Well, and that's why with the defense, with Grinch being gone, exactly what I was trying to tell with talk some other Trojan fans, not you specifically, obviously, is everyone's excited about next year, understandably, because now you can start looking at your new DCs, but it's still the same staff that was under Grinch, and I agree with you 100%. I don't even think it was Grinch. I think the staff there, honestly, defensively, probably doesn't know what they're doing, because they're the position coaches. They have to teach people where to go. So I don't know if they're going to simplify their scheme this week, kind of go base defense. And that's why it's kind of an interesting what we're going to see this week. That's kind of the X factor almost in this game, is because we don't know what the defense will look like for USC.
Well, if I'm Dan Lanning, I run the ball down our throats and let's see if you can stop it. Got Bucky Irving and Jordan James. Just keep on running the ball, and if you can stop it, great. But then you mix in a little Bo Nix, and you keep USC's defense off balance. There's certain defensive backs that struggle at turning their hips and locating the ball, and we've had a number of pass interference holding calls, disjointed back there. We don't get enough pressure on the quarterback against the better teams. So if I'm Dan Lanning, he's already kind of been talking smack on Twitter about USC playing in this. They play 7-on-7 down there in LA, and we're doing the what'd you call that, Derek? The mod.
It was like a mod bucket or something like that. Yeah, it was a contact drill.
And rightly so. He should, because this is a huge game. This is a big game for Oregon. You're sitting at number 6. You need to put out a memorable game. You got to send a message, right? Most people are going to be asleep, but you want them to wake up and see the damage. So this is a huge stage for Oregon. Okay, you got all day recruiting up there. You won a lot of recruiting battles against USC with Mateo and Connerly. You got the transfer Gary Bryant Jr. So
who's going to want to have a big game against the team that initially gave him his initial scholarship? Absolutely.
And you're going to play USC right after Washington does, even though Washington was on the road and we're going to be at your place. Doesn't matter. The uneducated national media will go ahead and compare and contrast, because that's what they do. And in that case, Oregon loves it, right? And and you get a chance to go to the Pac-12 championship game. You get that much closer with a rematch with Washington, and it's style points. And the most points ever scored in this matchup was in 2012 when Oregon beat USC 62-51 at USC. So I could see Oregon trying to hang a 70, and they probably can. I can see Dan Lanning calling for an onside kick in the fourth quarter.
I really hope he doesn't. So far, he has not done it this year. I really hope he does not try to onside kick again.
And USC won't be ready for it, potentially. And you got to figure, I don't think Caleb Williams is going to play this whole game. Because I think Oregon is going to have that much of a lead.